I'll mute myself.
Well, you can add if I forget something,
Yeah.
because I might forget stuff, or if you have
No,
questions and
I want
stuff.
him to fail.
You want
Cool,
me?
cool. That
Okay.
seems good.
All right, so I've pulled up the wave echo, and this is like kind of the GM view. So here
Okay.
in the screen, there's two elements right now. A scene, no? So down here I have scenes, maps, props, and characters. Essentially, you're only going to be using scenes and characters. So how do you import a scene? Just you click on the asset manager, you go to
Oh, so it's the same as adding any picture and stuff
yeah.
like that.
So you just click on scene, and you would add a scene, whatever. No,
Okay.
like any, and these are all the
Yeah.
maps that we've played in the past.
Yeah. Okay.
Once you have it, for example, it will let you resize it. Maybe I just real quick get a map, D&D map. Oh, there we go. We might have played this one, but all right. Now we go to Owlbear. We add like
Yes.
the squares here will match to the larger squares. What you do is you just go to the side and you just kind of like
Match
pull
up
it
to
down. Yeah, you just match it to the
five.
squares.
Yeah.
And you can get this is a very low res image, but boom, there you go. And now you've matched the map.
Oh, nice.
Something else you can do is just remove the snapping, boop, like that. And now when you put a character, it won't snap to things. It won't snap to a square.
And why don't we want to do that?
It's just nicer to move things around because it's gonna make things easier. So now you would import it, and now it's loaded in. And now we can open it, and this loads the scene.
Oh, okay. Yep.
To drag in characters, the same. You can even just have the images from D&D Beyond and no, midget is not going to be a monster, but any mob, zombie, and well, this one's a new one, but this should just have the token. So what you just do is you drag it in as a character, resize it. Just drag it in.
And you have to navigate through the circle.
Yeah, and sometimes if you have too many things stored like I do, you will get errors, but you should just be able to drag and drop it in as a character and it should work.
Okay, cool.
That is the basics of Owlbear, which I think is like the easiest of the parts. You can then do fog controls, which again, I have some more. You will have your player controls here. I have some extra ones now because I am the GM. So the select tool, and then I have fog. And then you don't really need to touch anything. There's only fog cutting or no fog cutting. So if you have it disabled, when you draw a square, well, I need to have it disabled. So when you draw a square, it gets covered up, and then you can check it as how the players would see it. That's what you guys would see.
Okay, yeah.
And then if I enable fog cutting, I can cut a square. No, so whoop. And then that's what the players would see. And likewise to hide characters, let's say we have the Earth Elemental in here. You can right click on it. No, you don't even need to, you just left click on it and you can click on hide.
Okay,
and that is hidden to the players. So you can have mobs around in case you need them. Or wait, the reason I had Wave Echo pulled up, if I find it. Oh, the Sheep Chase, I think also had it. Let me show you.
Sheep Chase.
Is it? No, that's not it. Is it Campsite maybe?
The Jisoo and Carlos just
there. So you can import, for example, the stat block, and just have it off to the side hidden, and you don't need to switch around between tabs if you're playing with a stat block that is not on D&D Beyond, or that you need to have something in mind. Like for example, I could just write anything in here as a text, and just have it hidden. And then you guys wouldn't know. So I do that with secret doors and stuff like that. I will mark them on the map, and then I will hide the marking. That way I can remember that it's there, but you guys as players won't know that there's something there.
Cool.
That's Owlbear, and that's fairly straightforward. Then to invite you,
Yeah,
just send a link.
And I just kind of, if I want Albert, I just go on it.
You need to register, but then
sign in. Yeah, do that.
and you can invite players with this. But that again, Albert is the easy part, I would say. The more complex part is running an encounter. No, so and that is simplified by using D&D Beyond. So
okay, yep.
This is
my pen and paper.
I'm recording it, so if you need to watch it back, but yeah. So the campaign overview. I have all of my campaigns. Let's go into the one-offs, for example. You should invite me so that I can content share. Maybe we will not be able to content share it from some point onward because the subscription will finish. But for now we can. So
yeah, okay.
Or we run it in here. No, you have all of your players. This is the general overview, the same one you have. And up here, you can create an encounter. If you do it from the campaign, it's easier because it will just grab these players as the players that are going to be fighting in the campaign. So, for example, create encounter. And now it tells me, for example, the average party level and the characters that are in here. So all of this are the current characters in the campaign that are being taken into account for the encounter. So now let's say that I want to add some mobs. Let's just add zombies again. Let's add, for example...
Always legacy.
Yeah, always legacy. So for example, let's add an ogre zombie and a regular zombie. These are... So when I take a turn, sometimes a bunch of creatures will go at the same time. You can group creatures together. So for example, I can add 3 zombies, or I could add 2 zombies, and this one is just a group of 2. So if they're all going together, you just have it. They will act as a unit almost. And then, for example, let's put 2 zombies, 3 ogre zombies, and a singular zombie. Once we're happy with the encounter, this is the difficulty easy, because we have a bunch of 10th level characters. If let's say with what would be a CR, high CR?
Vampire or something like this.
Yeah, an aberration. You see that it goes to deadly. So that can help you gauge a little bit. The difficulty, honestly, you guys have done a lot of deadly encounters that you just whiz through. And last week we had someone died on a difficult. So it's or a hard, I cannot remember the name. So it's not always going to be 100%. And especially as you get higher up in the levels, it's not going to matter. But for a one-shot, you should, unless you're using a pre-written, maybe this will give you a gauge of how hard it's going to be with level 3 players or level 4 players.
Yeah, so that's the one I've got. It says levels 2 to 3, I think. But if I just make I can just try and make it the encounters slightly harder to do, level 5, right?
Yeah, so you could just either change the
just add a dragon every 5 minutes.
Yeah, just add a bronze dragon or something like that, and that would.
You have to take into consideration that the level 5 is a massive
jump,
peak, spike in a capabilities of characters.
From 3 to 4, there's not much. From 4 to 5, there's a big jump.
Yeah.
And then once you have it, you would go to save, and you can pre-make the encounters. That's what I used to do before I had them all made, but then it's a pain in the ass because you gotta go to your encounters, you gotta find it. When in reality, and you never know who's going to be playing. So I had made encounters, and then a character had died, so I had to edit them anyways. It takes a couple of minutes to make an encounter. If all of the mobs are in here, so you would click now run encounter, and whatever the players roll their initiative, it will auto-populate it if you have started the encounter before they roll. So sometimes I will tell you to hold off, and people will roll anyways, or I would say roll for initiative, and everyone rolls, and I haven't opened the encounter yet.
Okay.
So, but you can have this up in the side, and then you just see everyone's rolls, and you can just add them here to populate it. And for your mobs, you can do auto roll, and it just auto rolls it.
Okay, cool.
So you don't need to worry about that. Once you hit start, let's say that this guy got a 20 for flexes, 15. That's enough. So again, it will put it in order, and then you can just keep clicking next to go through the different enemies. And if you click on the mob and it's in D&D Beyond, you will have the full stat block here.
Yeah.
Which
Cool.
is
Yeah.
the way. So, for example, when I roll, I can set it to myself here, or everyone. No, that's what we were used to doing before. So I set it to myself. I can see the roll and see the result here. If I set it to everyone, then everyone sees it on their thing displayed.
Okay, that's cool. That's not as scary as I thought it would be.
No, it's very straightforward. Like honestly, running a one shot is very straightforward with this setup, because the Owlbear really simplifies it. And then once you have the combat, you can move Owlbear to the side, because the characters are not going to be moving that much, and you can just stare at this screen as you run the combat. If you're doing a character that doesn't have a character sheet, if it's from a pre-written one shot, it might be in the homebrew things, but otherwise you're gonna have to do.
Yeah, I don't think there's any, like, the one I'm doing hasn't got anything too exciting in there yet.
Okay, so. But let's say let me think of a character. Well, let's just do a Medusa, for example, no? And I just typed it without the 5e. But you can, for example, get it on whatever, some other place. Like the 5e tools, I think, has everything pirated. Let's not talk about this too much, but again, I think the 5e tools, even if it has the whole campaign, and here's the stat block. It's a bit harder to read, but you still have your everything that you can do. No, so it's a great sword, and then your different actions. So +5. This is what you will have to roll manually. No, so that's why I say take a screenshot of what it can do, put it in your Owlbear, and then you can just roll a d20 and add it.
Nice.
So a 19 +5, or whatever you would want to be doing with this.
Okay, that kind of makes sense.
It's fairly straightforward to run a one shot, I would say.
If you want to make your life miserable, as I did, you can try to edit like in your monster through creating homebrew.
Yeah.
You can then create. Don't do it.
Okay.
So
yeah, I'm gonna try and make mine as easy as I can, and kind of just in case some idiot tries to mess things up. So it's
I tried to do it as well, but again, you would have if you go to homebrew, you can grab monsters, and for example, monsters from the original Phandelver, Lost Mine of Phandelver are in here. No, so some things like maybe Venom Fang is in here. Venom Fang. I cannot remember all the names, but
yeah, Venom Fang's one, isn't it?
Yeah, corrupted Venom Fang, Despair. There's a giant Venom Fang. But for example, this guy is probably Large Dragon, Lawful Evil. This is Venom Fang, no? So in the end, you could just grab it from here. Honestly, rolling it manually is not that hard. If you just have one monster, you need to roll manually. Something else, if for example the Medusa, or if we go to the encounter that we created. Is it this one? Nope, that's one of the things that you thought. See, for example, this is what you would see when you don't have access to the character. Yeah. See that it says like, oh, you can get it by purchasing Phandelver below, even though I have the book sitting right behind me. So that's why I play it from the book, not for this ones. But for example here, now you will have your your stat block, and then you will have these things like the blind sense or the keen hearing, and these are some things that you need to maybe read ahead if you're going to run a monster that is very complex. For example, for the Medusa, I knew about the petrifying gaze, but I also knew about like other things that they get, other bonuses that they get, and like they might have resistance to magic or advantage against magic, or like all those types of things.
Lush. Yeah.